St John's Church is in a busy, prominent part of Weymouth. We're situated just on the seafront. We have this incredible, historic, large, beautiful, prominent building which God has given us. There are two questions at the heart of the Renewal Project. How can we use this amazing building to glorify God? And how can we use it to bless the community? That's what all this is about. We want to point people to Jesus, and we want to serve and bless this incredible community that we live in. And so here are some of the things that we're going to be doing. We're going to be replacing these chairs. 35 years ago, the big decision was taken to remove the pews, which of course have a beauty and a history of their own. But they went many years ago, replaced with these chairs, which have served us well. But their time is now up. They're really, really heavy to move around, as many of you know. You will testify to that, and increasingly uncomfortable. They're looking tired, they're looking worn, and part of creating this welcoming, comfortable, hospitable place will be to replace the chairs. So we're looking at getting lightweight chairs which are easier to move around, easier to kind of rearrange the church in different ways depending on the services that we're having, but still just as comfortable as the ones that we've got. While we're talking about furniture, we're also going to be investing in a little bit of furniture which will go at this end of the church. I'm now at the rear of the church. This is where we kind of do our mingling and drink coffee after services. We'd love here to create really, we'll just get into the light, a community cafe type space, a space with tables and chairs and nice places where tea, coffee and cake are served from, where people can come in. Maybe it's going to be for coffee mornings during the week, for light lunches, for things in the evening, maybe for young people to come along to, for young adults to come along to, a place just to come and spend time with each other, to build community, to build friendship and be served, and for us to be hospitable along the way. So there'll be some new furniture, which is placed at the back of the church here, as that sort of place of hustle and bustle and relationship building and drinking coffee and having cake and all of those kind of things. Really important part of that project is that we don't want the font, which is such an important part of the church, such an important part of our history and our heritage. We don't want the font to be lost in that kind of hustle and bustle. The walls are all going to be repainted. You can see behind me that we're already in preparation for that happening. In due course as well, we're going to replace the carpet. Again, like the chairs, it's been here for 35 years, served us really, really well, but you wouldn't have to look too closely to realise that it's in need of replacement. So what's going to happen in this room here is the installation of a kitchen. We don't have a kitchen at St. John's. We have a sink and a kettle and a few drawers. But what we would love, and I know many of you are longing for this, is to be able to properly serve the community with food and with meals. And so we're going to have a really good quality kitchen. As you saw from when I was outside, it's a very sunny day today. But even on this sunny day, to do this video, I've had to turn on all the lights in the church. It's not naturally an overly light space, but that's partly to do with the quality of the lights that we have. We would love for the church to feel lighter and brighter, but also for us to have more options in terms of atmospheric lighting. And so part of the project is that we're going to be not so much adding loads of new lighting in, but just improving the lights that we've got, improving the way in which they're controlled, so that we can accentuate the historical architectural features of the church, but also that we can just have a better lit space for people to come and enjoy being in. One of those beautiful parts of the church is, of course, the chancel. And I'm going to take you up to the chancel now. The chancel is one of the most beautiful parts of the church, steeped in history, full of interesting wood features, stone features, architectural features. There's the stained glass window with the ascended Christ depicted. This is an incredible place to pray. It's an incredible place to be in God's presence, to worship. We know God's everywhere, but there's something so special about being in this part of the church. But at the moment, it's really inaccessible. It's very hard to get to if you have trouble with mobility and if you're using a wheelchair, or even if you wanted to bring a pram or a buggy up here. And so we want to make the chancel as accessible as we possibly can. And so the plan is to bring the communion rails down a step, eliminating one of the steps that people currently have to get up to take communion up here. And what we're going to do at this end of the chancel, the green surface below me, it's not a miniature golf course, it's actually the stage, or the dais, to give it its proper name. We're going to raise the stage to be the same height as this step here. So once you're on the dais, you don't need to go up any more steps to be fully in the chancel. But we're going to raise the stage. So how do you get onto the stage in the first place if it's going to be even higher? Well, we're going to have a ramp, and the ramp is going to be situated just about where I'm standing now. And so a ramp will begin around here and go up onto the dais. And for those who don't need a ramp but do just need a little bit of help getting up the steps, there's going to be some handrails positioned centrally on the stepped access up to the new dais. And what it means is that any service in the chancel is fully accessible, and anyone can go there to pray if they're just visiting the church and wanting a quiet space to be. There's no barrier to anyone getting up to that part of the church. When this church was originally built in 1854, the stepped entrance behind me was the main entrance. You can see it's the bottom of the tower, and we've been using a different entrance for quite a few years, and that's a great entrance that we normally use. It's level access, so it's great for wheelchairs and prams. We'll continue to use that entrance. But part of the project is we want to restore this as one of the ways in which people can get into the church. At the moment, you can just see it's gated off. There's a big porch behind it. And behind that porch is our current kitchenette, which, as I've already explained, we won't be needing anymore. So part of the project is that this magnificent west-facing entrance to the church can be restored as a way in which people can, A, from the road, see that the church is open, alive, well and active, and B, have that impressive entrance to the church too. So that's part of the project that we're also looking forward to. Another really important part of the plan is to increase the capacity of the car parks. We've got a car park here that you can see behind me, and also one just down at the other end of the church as well. Praise God that our church is growing, but what that means is that the car park is absolutely crazy on a Sunday morning, and what we want to do is just alleviate some of the pressure on the car park just by expanding it a little bit and putting a better quality of surface down as well. So that will be a huge part of the church being accessible and welcoming, that when people turn up here to worship, they're able to park without a problem.